Joining me now, Teresa Helm, a survivor of Epstein's abuse and survivor services coordinator at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Welcome, Teresa. As you listen to Virginia Giuffre's family there in that statement, they say that Andrew's arrest shows no one is above the law, not even royalty. Is that how you feel today?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, I feel the same. It's so wonderful to be able to share in a little bit of celebration with them. I know they've been fighting so hard for Virginia and to continue what she has started and created. And it was definitely the right thing. Thank goodness that something is being done finally. You know, justice is taking the lead, it seems, in the UK currently.
But I'm curious what you hope comes of this, beyond just his arrest and potential conviction, because I remind you, these are charges unrelated to any sexual abuse.
You know, so what I know Virginia and her family, and we all survivors, her survivor sisters and survivors everywhere, we do hope that this leads, you know, just as Skye said, further investigation to the point where Andrew is convicted of crimes, because he's certainly, there are crimes that have been committed. So those crimes need to be fully exposed, fully investigated, and a conviction needs to follow. And he can join his good friend Ghislaine Maxwell in prison where he belongs.
So this is the highest profile arrest in the Epstein case since the files dropped, but it is not here in the U.S. So for you, does anything short of arrests for people involved in this country feel like justice to you?
No, justice will be seen and achieved when there are further convictions, arrests, or arrests then convictions here in the United States. We as a nation, I think, owe it not only to our citizens, we owe it to the world to really set a very clear and final example of what will be and will not be tolerated in this country. And crimes against women, men, and children are not tolerable. They are not okay. And we should certainly be standing very proud and tall of the commitment to never acknowledge or never condemning these types of crimes, and always continuing justice and conviction to the end.
Look, that is a noble goal and one that we all share in, but it may be a bit of an uphill battle. And to express that, I want to play some of what MS Now political analyst Anand Giridharadas said. It was on Morning Joe today, and he talks about the problem of what he calls an Epstein class of people. Take a listen.
There is a problem of an Epstein class, as we are titling the series, in which the kind of ethic you see in all three of those instances. Don't call this out because the stock market's good. Don't call this out because I met some interesting people. Don't call this out because I'm a billionaire and I deserve to not have to answer questions to the plebs. These are all different flavors, different expressions, different news stories on a given day that illustrate not just how one man was able to commit gross crimes against women and girls, not just about how he was able to bring other people into committing those crimes, but I believe they illustrate a power structure that also explains the subtler but more chronic issues that everyone watching this is facing in their lives. The indifference to pain and suffering.
Right there, Teresa. What do you think about this idea that this Epstein case reveals a culture of people who show an indifference to pain and suffering in this country?
So I think that that's very real. Number one, this power dynamic that we are facing, which it results in people that feel or actually are in positions of power preying on vulnerable individuals. You know, everything that he listed, whether it's the Dow or billionaires and their money, this is all secondary to humanity. This is all secondary to human dignity. There's no amount of money that can conquer the human heart and spirit. You know, I am appalled and agree to the fact that there are people that just think, you know, let's just move along, nothing to see here. So what, or anything of that nature. And I invite anyone to think more, make it more personal. You know, what if it were their family member, their friend, their sister, son, daughter, mother? You know, maybe that's what needs to be done. Maybe people need to take a consideration of what would they do if they were very directly affected in the utmost of intimacy with their own family, and consider how they may feel, which I imagine may be tough for some people if there's a lack of empathy, but certainly all should really give it a good go and see where they land on this.
Teresa Helm, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to reiterate that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor continues to deny all allegations of any kind of charges against him.